righty. Hello, everyone. My name is Chris Douglas. I'm Senior Warden of Virginia Research Lodge. This is our first live unstated meeting where I have people in the room with me. Y'all want to wave to the camera. And then what I'll probably do then is I'll mute when I'm not speaking. You can turn the mic back on. We are doing a panel discussion. I call this a very special Scottish Rite meeting or episode, because we're here at the Scottish Rite Conference in Richmond, and we're taking time out to have an unstated meeting for the Research Lodge. So that's really cool. Since everybody's here, I'm not going to send my usual links around, but you can ask me afterwards if you don't have links to our Facebook page or what have you. I think most of you are already in our group. But I want to welcome everybody who's here today. And I'm going to ask you to just go around the room real quick and introduce yourselves.
Sorry. Wes Latchford from the 35th Masonic District in Virginia Beach, Virginia, and also the Director of Education for the Norfolk Valley of the Scottish Rite, and also the DEO for the 56th District.
Hi, Terry Smith. I'm the Veteran Master of the Alexander Scottish Rite here at the conference. I'm also the King of the Frontier number 25 chapter, and I'm at Henry, Senior Warden. Henry number 57. So looking forward to today's discussion.
Bill Pleasance, 25th Masonic District, also the Valley of Lynchburg for Scottish Rite.
Tim Thorman, Master of Buena Vista Lodge number 186 in Buena Vista, Virginia, and the Junior Warden of the Valley of Lynchburg, and District Deputy High Priest for the 14th Capitular District of the York Rite.
Hi, John Suit, Freedom Lodge 112, Eldersburg, Maryland, also member of Alexandria Scottish Rite, past Commander of Kadosh.
Mike Taldo, past Venerable Master, Alexandria Scottish Rite, past Master of Freedom Lodge number 112 in Eldersburg, Maryland. Nice.
All right. And as you can see, everyone here is much more qualified to be here than I am, but you're stuck with me as your host. Okay, so how about I'll pose a question, and then I don't expect everybody to answer every question. We just sort of raise your hand and then go, and then we'll see whoever wants to respond. I've got a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 questions, and we may hit them all up. We may not, depending on how long the discussion goes. Okay, so I'll just throw out the first question. We're all familiar with observant lodges, traditional observance lodges, some will call them. And this came up in a discussion and was a thinking point for me. Is an observant lodge similar to a research lodge, and in what way?
Good question.
Well, an observant lodge confers degrees, whereas a research lodge does not. In Virginia, all the research lodges, I believe, have the same cadre of officers, and we open and close ritually in the Master Mason degree, but we don't confer degrees. We just accept members.
And there are a few traditional observant lodges that do not confer degrees.
Oh,
but that's a very select few. I would say one thing: the research lodges only meet 4 times a year, and many of the observant lodges meet 6 times or 4 times. They don't meet. Some meet all 12 months, and they're focused more on education.
Yeah, I think they serve 2 very, very different but complementary purposes. And when again reading, some of Andrew Hammer's stuff, and then there's also another book by Cliff Porter on Traditional Observance Lodge, and it reminds me of what took place in England between the ancients and the moderns, right? Where, everybody said, well, the ancients were the modern guys and the moderns were the ancient guys. Not necessarily so much. What was ending up happening was what became the moderns was a brand of masonry that those who were from the ancient mindset didn't view as really sticking with the ancient landmarks. And it was a vast majority of Irish Masons who kind of led the charge on the ancient side. And it was because they were mostly businessmen. they were businessmen in Dublin, and matter of fact, Dublin was almost more British than it was Irish at the time because of the business relationships between Ireland and England. And so when those Irish Masons would come to London on business and want to visit a lodge, one of the rights of a Master Mason, they were being refused admittance because of varying things. One of the other things was the modern style of Freemasonry became very, very exclusive, and if it was anything other than what we traditionally think Freemasonry is. You can meet on the level, act by the plumb, bar the swear, right? So that's kind of the layout. And when I hear observant lodge, it almost makes me think of the ancients or the antients, where they were like, we need to get back, you need to get back to what Freemasonry was supposed to be, not what you've turned it into. And so that observant push to me is much along that same line where, I think anyone who's being transparent and honest would admit, not everywhere, but in many places, we've turned Freemasonry, and he talks quite a bit in his book about, where if we're just meeting for stated communications to, read the minutes and hear the treasurer say we have no money, and then use some old 18th century language to make us feel special, but we're really not.
So I kind of agree with you in one respect. In my own research into the Grand Lodge at Wigan, it was very clear to me that, one group had co-opted ancient as a way to attract members. And so they weren't really ancient. They were the moderns because they were new. And that's a fact. So in a way, I agree with everything he said, except where you cast a little doubt on that, because I do think that was the case. But I firmly agree with you that the so-called moderns at that point wanted the traditional Masonry that they knew and understood, and they wanted to stay true to the old rituals. So membership, all that was all true.
Yeah,
everything.
It's funny, about the same time that started. I don't know if you've ever heard of the term of a button Mason, where that was your sole requirement to being brought into the craft, was to bring out like a lamb, or sheep with you to feed up the masses, and hey, you're a good enough guy, come on in.
So does anybody
now?
Do you know why the moderns ultimately merged back with the ancients?
No, yeah.
Their secretary ran off, or their treasurer ran off with all their money.
Well,
Oh my goodness.
So they went broke and didn't really.
They couldn't really question. Yeah, so observant lodge, is again to me that trend back towards whatever somebody agrees on with the ancient landmarks, right? We still haven't even been able to do that even in Virginia. We won't necessarily say specifically what the jurisdiction views as the actual ancient landmarks. So the observant lodge is doing that. And with that, and by doing that, you do bring a certain amount of education to go along with it in order to make it what it's viewed to be. And so the research lodge kind of serving the same purpose, but with a different focus. And again, with the research being the key, and I even went to the Methodical Digest to, if you want to know section 2.159, where it talks research lodges. But it's interesting because they actually state that the word research shall be included in the name of the lodge. So you're not going to get away with pretending you're something other than what you stated you're supposed to be.
Sure.
But here's what it's, here's what, at least for the Grand Lodge of Virginia, says research lodges are supposed to be. They're granted authority to conduct research, hold discussions, gather and preserve Masonic information, maintain a library, supply papers or speakers at the request of other lodges when convenient, and conduct a program of general service to the craft in the field of education and information. And so again, observance is, I think, trying to get back to this, to where Freemasonry is about bettering the man, not necessarily some of the other things that we've allowed in. And again, Indy goes into a whole lot of other things about what we're not getting right.
I want to go ahead and welcome Brian Smith, who's my regular co-host. He just joined in from Cornwall. Good to have you with us, Brian. And you're on mute.
There we go. Take two. Thank you very much. And good day to you, gentlemen.
All right. Now, what's funny is, Brian, you are not going to be able to hear, well, I'm sorry, none of y'all are going to hear Brian or anybody else. You're the first one to join. And I'm a little confused because I'm hearing myself off the mic, not off of this mic. And so, but if you have questions, Brian's speak up and then I'll relate to everybody else. But I appreciate you coming in.
Thank you.
This is very confusing to me because I've never done this. I'm usually just me. I don't have anybody in the room other than my dog or my pig. So it's a little different, but I'm going to roll with it. Okay, we're going to move on to the next question. What can lodges do to improve, well, to increase retention of new members?
Well, that's the same with everything. You gotta make them feel welcome and get them involved. That's what we try to do. When new guys come in, we don't shake their hands, hand them the pyramid with the perfect elu ring, and then never see them again. We try not to do that. We try to get them involved, let them know, put them on the newsletter, put them on the phone tree, so they're involved. We bring them in and make them feel like here you are.
I think, one thing is to be like a fraternity, and I mean that in the best possible way. At our lodge, we do a lot of things. Every month we meet, we have a bonfire, we have, a ring with all the symbols. Somebody leaves their engraved in this big fire pit, and it's fellowship time. A lot of us smoke cigars, that kind of thing, and it's barbecue and all that, and that just kind of evolved out of everyone having a kind of a feeling of a fraternity. But I think that at the end of the day, I mean, I didn't join because I wanted to, join the world's oldest fraternity. I actually was much more interested in some of the esoteric aspects of Masonry. And I was in a college fraternity, so I kind of had my fill of that. But I do value, and I know that our brothers at our lodge value that camaraderie that comes with that. The typical things that happen on lodge, tend to be more enthusiastic if they're with people and well. And part of that is just having fun. And I think that is really, really good for retaining.
So to sum that up real quick, because you don't want to go to lodge and just do business, right? Because that's boring as all you know what. You need to have varied presentations and engage members at different levels, right? And the new members, you do need to put your arm around the new members. You have to,
Of course, yeah.
you integrate them early. And in fact, what we do is we like to have the new members visit us outside of lodge at our social events, as opposed to, bringing them in and just, going through it that way. But as a past master who's recently left the East, I think critically, lodges need to put members closer to where they live. So in my last year as worshipful master, I started directing, potential new members to lodges that were within 15 miles of their home, because I did a survey of all the active members of my own lodge and found that 99% of the guys that did the work in the lodge lived within 15 minutes of the lodge itself. So if you want to increase the number of active members in your lodge, you need to direct prospective members to lodges that are closer to their home.
All right, and that of course applies in like a city, suburb area where you have many lodges.
That's right.
There's obviously parts in Virginia where
Maryland also.
50 miles from the next line.
Yeah.
So of course doesn't apply to that.
Yeah.
I do want to say that these three brothers are all commented. They were all there. Well, you were bartending. All of them were there in Alexandria in our big open air off the hospitality suite. And we sat around and talked on Friday afternoon and smoked cigars and drank for like 3 hours.
Yeah,
and I wish I had a camera and set it up so we could, because we had some serious discussion. So I'm trying to put lightning in a bottle again.
Yeah.
But when you mentioned the fire pit, that was one of the best experience I've had in Masonry.
Yeah.
Was that weekend at Scottish Rite last time, because we just sat and drank and smoked cigars and just talked. And that's what masonry should be. more
Yeah.
of that.
And I don't know if this is going to go into your later questions, but one of the things I wanted to do in joining masonry was not necessarily learning secrets or any of that stuff. I wanted to see if there was anyone to talk to about the things that I understood about the world that are typically considered as esoteric. And that is a prime example of that coming, being fulfilled. That's, just having people to talk to about, things that aren't typically talked about, nothing nefarious or anything like that. It's just, if you see the world a certain way, you want to know if other people do, or you want to talk about it and things like that. That's what I found in masonry, and especially found in the Scottish Rite, especially the individuals in the Scottish Rite. That's been really gratifying in general. And I think the more you make that known to your brothers. Hey, anybody want to talk about this stuff? Maybe it's just what do dreams mean? I mean, whatever you want to call it. Then that's something that you can get together over some cigars or not, and hang out and talk about. And I think that's really rewarding overall in masonry.
For me, I think the research lodge, I'd like to build that same sort of dialogue.
Yeah.
Because the same sort of men who are in the Scottish Rite, who are active, are the ones joining the research lodge. So, but again, because we only meet 4 times a year, we're usually driving to another city. We do talk quite a bit before and after the meeting, but we're not going to spend hours and hours and smoke cigars.
Right.
I'd love to, but we got to turn around and drive back home.
Sure.
So we're a Scottish Rite. If you're at your local Scottish Rite, you can stay later.
That's
You're here at the conference, you can certainly drink and smoke, and all you got to worry about is getting the elevator to let you back
That's
to
right.
your room.
I can't stress enough, though, the importance of having these kinds of conversations outside of the 4 walls of the lodge.
Yes.
Because I just want to use our lodge as an example, right? In the last 11 years, we've averaged, 10 new brothers a year in our lodge in Maryland. And that's an incredible number. And, while most lodges are declining, and one of the most common themes I've heard when I talk to folks is that because we meet outside of lodge, they get a little bit of what they are missing in society today, which is kind of what we have right now, where everybody's sitting face to face and having a good conversation, and you learn more, and it means more. And I think that's what I miss. I'm going to give you a parallel to that. When I lived in England, one of the greatest places for me to go was the pub that was just 25 yards down the block. And one day I took a 30-day leave from the service. And when I got back, I had a sticky note. They were angry with me that I didn't tell them that I left. The guys at the pub, they literally took the time to grab a sticky note and stick it on my door. And that's the way our forefathers used to meet, to solve critical problems and to make this, I think, ultimately to make this world better. And I think because we're fractured more now because of that, because we don't get together. And I think that's what I used to hear as in my last year as master, was that those meetings meant a lot to everybody that we were bringing in.
Yeah, it really is that shift in mindset, right? I think we become complacent with the idea that the lodge is a place, right? That's where Masonic work happens. And you've got to turn that on its head and say, no, so the lodge are the members. And my year in the East at Lynnhaven, I used the theme, a lodge without walls, because we had lost touch with the Lynnhaven community for which we were named.
The community, that's a great point that you make. And I was telling illustrious Grand Cross Art de Hoyos just earlier today that one of the things that struck me as I was preparing for the East, so this would have been in 2020 actually, was I was looking at, masonry in the past, and picture after picture after picture after picture, I realized there was a theme. There was Masons in the community in every single picture, right? They weren't sitting in the 4 walls of the lodge. There was almost none of those pictures. Yeah. They were out in the community, and because we're not active in the community, I think that's one of the reasons why we struggle.
Yeah, and a lot of times, and again, this is my own opinion of view on it, but a lot of times we hamstring ourselves because we then take that, well, we got to get more involved in the community. And then the follow-up is because it'll attract new members. And I'm like, no, you're going to get out in the community because that's what we're called to do as Masons.
Sure.
And whether or not a new member, becomes interested and eventually petitions and joins, that's the side benefit of it.
I think the big thing about being involved in the community, I agree with what you just said. I think the big thing about being involved in the community is being seen. Because remember, we don't ask people to join, we're there. And they have to ask. And surprisingly, there are a few brave people that have approached us by participating in the community. And so it's actually helped. And I encourage all lodges to try that.
The one other thing you said that I wanted to make a point of, which I have heard several times from members, is when you were absent from the pub, they missed you.
They did.
And they recognized he's not here. And I've had lots of brothers, who are significantly in arrears in dues, or have just completely dropped off the face of the planet. And when we finally reconnect with them, they're like, oh, so somebody finally is interested in me and how I'm doing. And again, that was never necessarily what we were, we were meant to be. You said we were meant to be, and we are
A fraternity.
the world's oldest fraternity. And sometimes we don't act that way to our own detriment.
I want to say, if you're watching this online, please like and subscribe. This has been a unique experience. I will try and do this again in the future. I thought it was a lot of fun. It is an adjustment for me as the host. We try to pay attention to y'all sitting here with me. And fortunately, we only had Brian for a few minutes. We didn't have a whole bunch of other attendees. I want to do this more often. I'm going to give every one of you a chance to any final words before we close out. Start with Wes.
No, me first. Think about your Freemasonry. Don't just attend lodge. Increase your expectations of what you want to get from the craft, because that in turn will help hopefully increase the expectations of the lodge in what they are to provide to you in return.
Again, lead by example. Let people see what you like in Freemasonry. Don't tell them. Let them see, and that creates the question.
That's a good point.
I would say Freemasonry isn't for everyone, but if you feel compelled, knock on a lodge door and find out when they're going to meet, and give the lodge secretary a call and see if you can just come out to dinner or with the members or something.
I just want to stick on a theme that I think is critical. You need to be visible, and you need to advertise the craft. Wear the hats, wear the shirts, wear the rings, make it known.
Our next unstated meeting will be October 19th. We have Masonic Family Day next week up here in Richmond, and then Civil War after that. So October 19th will be Chad Kopensky, who has been a frequent speaker here, and he will be giving a talk. And I'm looking forward to that. So I thank all of my panelists for being here today. This was great. I think we talked about a lot of good stuff. I'm looking forward to putting this out on the web, and hopefully we'll get a lot of people to get this out there and be watching, encourage discussion. But
Great.
thank you all for coming.
Thank you.